Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Salt and Sugar. As you can see here, I'm talking with our dog Nala. We'll see if Rico decides to be less camera shy this time around. Nala wasn't really worried about it last time. But anyway, we're going to review some more things. We're going to, given that it's our second episode, we're going to do things kind of the same, but we're going to read some different threads as well, not just relationship advice ones, because we kind of want it to be just general life advice, stuff like that. So our first one is actually going to be from the r/ask women. So I'll let you take the lead on that one.
Okay. It says u/m Chamstry?
Yeah, that's
Chamstry tea?
That's close enough.
Something like that. It says, how do you feel about men's mental health? So this question is pretty broad in my opinion. Obviously mental health is important regardless of the gender. I think that like in a relationship, if someone's mental health is not there, it's gonna affect your partner and affect that person. So in general, I feel like it's important. I mean, I don't really understand the question. Like, mental health is mental health regardless of if it's men's mental health or women's mental health. What do you think?
I agree with you. I think any mental health is important, no matter who you are. I feel like this question was brought on upon because a lot of times you see it on both sides. Women sometimes you see don't think that men have mental health issues, because society or media or whatever has made us look like we're like this rock that just will always be a rock,
Mm-hmm.
So, and sometimes some women and some men, and that's why I said it's on both sides, it's seen as weakness to have any mental health issues,
Mm-hmm.
Especially in men. I feel like a lot of time if we're struggling with something like depression or something, they're like, oh, just get over it, So I feel like it is important, kind of like you said, to take into account.
Well, 100%, regardless of the gender, you should never assume that one person can just handle anything. Like, I feel like that's messed up and also old mentality.
Yeah.
If I'm thinking that about you, that you have to be the rock, that you can't be sad or you can't be unhappy or whatever, then you would have the right to think of me as being old school. I have no value besides being at home. There's no reason for me to work, or I need to be at home and taking care of the house. I feel like times have changed to where we've become more open and honest about mental health and or equal rights. And I feel like with men's mental health, like, you have the right to be depressed or anxious or scared just as much as I do. Just because you're a man doesn't make you bulletproof. Yeah.
I think you have to look at it as everyone's human.
Yeah, everyone's human, not
regardless of what.
Yeah. Of course, like, there's that side of things where you're going to look at, this is where we get kind of touchy on the subject, because there's, like, not gender roles, but, like, when it comes to, I feel protected by you, regardless of if you choose to do that on purpose or not.
Yeah.
Like, I do tend to feel more protected when you're next to me or when you're with me. If I'm walking alone versus walking with you, I feel a little bit more protected. Now, that shouldn't be in my head, because in real life, like, let's be real. If
beat up the shadows in the dark.
You know what I'm saying? Like, there's if you could run away just as much as you could fight. You know what I'm saying? So I shouldn't feel safer.
Just
I shouldn't
trip you.
Yeah, I shouldn't assume that you're gonna take charge or take care of me.
That's
but
true.
that is there.
Yeah.
And so I feel like that's kind of unavoidable. But when it comes to the emotional toll that has, or like just like the emotional toll that it has on women and being mothers and not being mothers, or being career driven and not career driven, I feel like that it's circumstantial, and we have to understand both sides. Like
the factors that affect your mental health as a woman are different than the factors that might affect my mental health as a man, but it's still something that it's still something that affects the mental health. Yeah.
And how you feel, like,
so I think
matter.
It should matter. It's important.
That's it.
All right. Next. So, moving on, our next one is from the r/Ask Men, and it's posted by you/checkout username, or checkout_username. And it says, contemplating marriage. What are the pros and cons? I hear so much bad. I am planning on a prenuptial agreement. So, as a dude, since he's asking dudes, I think it depends. So, it depends on, I feel like as a guy, it depends on your expectations, on your maturity is a big one, on your future goals, and on, I would say, the type of marriage you want. Because there's and that's a broad spectrum, right? There's a lot of different things. But as a guy, we tend to be less emotional when it comes to marriage. Like, I would say a lot of guys don't view marriage as the oh, I can't wait to like do this and do that, like it's kind of like we want companionship more than everything else. And we also want families a lot of the times. Like me, for example, I've always known that I wanted kids. Like, I think that idea is very exciting. But it just depends. Like, a lot of the times, a lot of men, at the very least, want some sort of companionship. And that version of companionship, I feel like you have to find someone that kind of views that the same way. I get what he means about, like, you hear so much bad. Just the fact that he's mentioning a prenup, he hears a lot of, like, the divorce side of things and, like, men getting screwed over and this and that, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's a valid concern for anyone, like, even women. Like, I feel like a lot of the times it's shown that men are the ones that typically get screwed over. But I feel like it could happen to women as well, like it does happen to women as well.
You mean financially, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
because, like, usually if it's like a mother, they get child support, or
yeah,
they were like the ones that weren't working, so they need half the earnings and half the profit or whatever.
And I feel like that can be something. It all depends. I would say that a prenup is not necessarily a bad thing financially, but you have to a prenup kind of sounds, you have to be careful how you present it, I would say, because it could sound untrusting of the other person.
It also matters who you're marrying, because if it's someone that, like, you should be able to openly talk to them about prenups.
Yeah,
that should be, regardless if you, like, if you were raised with money or you stepped into money or whatever, and you're dating someone and they know you have money, they should automatically assume that it will be a part of the conversation. Because it's not about trust, it's about... there's different things that it could be about.
Things, yeah.
But a majority of it is a safety net. In case something happens, I want to make sure that I'm protected. And
Nala's trying to voice her opinion.
She's like, no prenup.
You're talking over her.
No prenup.
It's like, no, I get all the rope.
But I feel like the idea behind prenup is always like, you don't trust me, you don't think we'll be together forever, you don't see a future, whatever. But it's the same thing if you think about it as a woman. having the ring on your finger. Because a lot of women are like, oh, well, you're not committed to me until we're married.
Yeah,
you're not committed to me. You don't love me till the end. You won't ever leave me until we're married.
Yeah.
It's the same thing with prenups. Like, they're thinking, oh, I want to make sure I'm not going to get left and then have half of my stuff taken. So I would see it as both ways. Like, you could trust someone enough and love someone enough to never get married and be with them, or you could trust and love them enough to not have a prenup. But regardless, you should be open to the conversation and be willing to make that person happy. Because if you were that truly confident in your relationship, a prenup wouldn't matter. Yeah. You'd sign it and be like, okay, we're never going to have to use this, but whatever.
Yeah. And that's why there's a lot of factors. I think it all depends on what your view of it is.
And a lot of stuff can be in prenups, too. It's not just about finances, your money. Yeah, a lot of stuff can be in prenups that could mess up the marriage, but that's a whole other conversation.
Yeah. But I think if you really feel like you need one, have that conversation with your partner, you know? Yeah. And that might be something that you guys need to work through first in order to decide if you...
But you'll find the right one... if you can have that conversation.
Yeah, without
if you run into all these, you hearing so many bad things, they weren't the right one. It's summed up to that. Yeah. You didn't marry the right one. You didn't have and that's a whole nother conversation too. Is like, is there one and only?
Yeah, I wouldn't say you didn't marry the right one. Sometimes I feel like you didn't address what needed to be addressed the right way. You know, like
communication issues.
Exactly.
For sure. But I feel like if it ends in divorce or it's nasty or it sounds bad, I feel like
you might have avoided
further than just communication issues. I think
you might have neglected to see some red flags there. Yeah. Which is very important. You always don't let love just completely blind you. You want to make sure, and it's good that he's thinking of stuff like that, like he's not completely blinded. Mm-hmm. I feel like it might be out of fear a little bit of the unknown, but yeah.
But he's also asking, like, he's just contemplating marriage, pros and cons. Mm-hmm. There's so many pros to marriage because it's not just the emotional standpoint, it's a legal standpoint. If you want to be with the person that you love and then they end up in the hospital and you can't visit them because you're not married, you're not in immediate family. You wouldn't be able to see them. That's true. I didn't think of taxes.
Yeah. My mind was like taxes.
Yeah, and house. If you guys ever end up separating, who gets the house? How do you split it? And you weren't married, so you can't split it evenly. Like, marriage has a lot of things that come with it legally when you actually get that documentation. Yeah. Instead of just the emotional side of things, look at it legally what marriage can give you. Like, it can give you a lot of stability.
There's some benefits, too.
And there's a bunch of benefits to it.
Your income now technically doubles, and that's why you get all the tax benefits. Because now you both are paying for...
And it gets complicated with children. If you're not married and you have children and then let's say something happens and you don't agree with what's going on, you have, as the father, you're the father of the children, but if you were a married couple, it's different. You have different value in your words knowing that you are a married couple and you're the father. Yeah. And also legally in the courtroom, it'll look different too. Yeah. So.
Yeah. To sum it up, maybe write a pros and cons list.
That's what he asked us to do.
No, but I think it's worth it. I think there are more pros.
Better say it's worth it.
I think it's worth it. No, but I think it's worth it. I think there's more pros and cons than there are cons. Yeah. And as long as you talk about and you think about and you plan for the cons, the pros will outweigh them in the end. Yeah. Right. Next.
All right. So the first one that we're gonna do for relationship, what's the thread called? r/relationship advice. So it says, me, 22 female, boyfriend, 24 male, telling me to know my place.
And it comes from you/throw a X12. I know you can't. It's
I can't
really
read
small.
It. Yeah. Me, 22 female, and my boyfriend, 24 male, have been together for 3 years. since we met in college, he used to be super affectionate and supportive of me in my studies. Always taking me on dates, buying me things, and treating me like a princess. But recently, he's been telling me to know my place as a woman. He always held the door open for me, but now he says if you're an independent woman, you can open the door for yourself, or you can buy your own stuff. He is constantly telling me to get back in the kitchen and get him coffee and do all the things for him, and is telling me I can't do my normal life until he is satisfied. I guess maybe I'm too hard on myself. I just wish my place wasn't so below him. I love him so much, but the way he is treating me makes me cry myself to sleep every night. So I'm sorry, why are you still with him? Why is this even
not?
a
He sounds like
comment?
a man that knows what he... No, I'm kidding.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, you can go first as a woman.
Okay, I am going to try to respect the fact that it's possible that it's hard to be in an abusive relationship and know it, and or to know how to get out of it. But with this being the way it is, it could have gone two ways. One way was, one way is that we... I'm sorry, you're distracting me too much. I can't get my words out. Alright, so this situation could have gone one of two ways.
She just keeps
One, I know, you gotta get that toy away from her.
It's cracking me up because it's distracting.
Every time I'm trying to talk, I'm like, what? She's looking at me.
I know, she's like, this is buggy? This is buggy?
Yeah.
This is buggy? Okay.
They're like, get to the point.
Yeah.
Okay.
Come on, son. Focus.
I'm sorry. So one situation could have been that she decided to have a conversation with him about, and early in their relationship, about how she wants to become this independent woman, or she thinks she's this independent woman. And so he took offense to that, saying, okay, well, I've been taking care of you, and now you think that you don't need me. Yeah. And so it could have become like not a revengeful thing, but like a respect thing. He felt disrespected, and so in turn made him act this way, made him start saying these stupid things, and made him feel like he wasn't respected or loved the way he was giving love.
Yeah. And
so he could have reacted that way because of that. That is far... I'm giving him the benefit of the doubt if that's the case. The second thing is, this guy's just an asshole. I'm sorry. He is. He sounds like misogynistic, like he doesn't know what the 20th century is, and he feels like, yeah.
I'm sorry. She's looking at us like, pay attention.
This is why people in podcasts lock their
dogs up.
Because he seems abusive to me. He seems like he doesn't understand women, that he believes the old mentality that a woman belongs in the kitchen and that you should be taking care of your man like a... she has no value, stuff like that. Yeah. I would just like to say, regardless of the situation, if you have someone talking to you like that and he's making you feel that way,
it's not okay.
It's not okay, one. Two, it's not a real relationship because he's not treating you with love and respect. And three, leave his ass. There's no reason for you to stay. Absolutely no reason. No matter how much you love this guy, he does not respect you. He does not love you. He is immature. He's not ready for a relationship. Yeah. He doesn't value a woman the way she should be valued. Yeah. So there's no way you can have a relationship with this man and feel respected ever if his mentality is going to be like that. And that happens with majority of what's that podcast with that, what's his name? The guy who just got arrested.
Oh, Mr. Potato Head.
Is it Mr. Potato Head?
No, that's what they call him. I know who you're talking about. He's in like Romania or something.
He's known to be like the
super like
biggest misogynist on YouTube.
Yeah.
But basically, it's just like the alpha male mentality of just feeling like the woman is there to serve me, instead of looking at her as a equal human being.
Yeah.
And so it's just that old
mentality. So what I would say, first of all, that whole alpha male thing, I don't know if like I always crack up when I see it, because like the same scientist that brought up that first theory later disproved the theory about like wolves actually having an alpha. Like he later noticed that it was actually like the parents, and usually like it was more patriarchal that it was
or age.
By age, that's what it was. Yeah, like the oldest wolf was the one in charge, not because they were like
male. And
and like usually that wolf was like the dad or the mom or whatever of the litter, right? So it was more of a family unit rather than oh, I beat up the last alpha, so now I'm the alpha. So that whole alpha mentality is so dumb to me, because one, we're a little bit more advanced than wolves.
Come here.
You know? And two, it's not even a thing that exists, you know? Like you can look at all those creatures that people think as alpha, like lions. The women hunt, bro. The lion just sits there and protects. Like they work as a unit in a way. But in this case, sorry, this isn't the Discovery Channel. In this case, yeah, I agree with you. It seems like it was something that maybe he's trying to get back at her for. If he's not completely being misogynistic, which it does seem like it, pretty bad. But again, he
could have just been offended.
Yeah, we always only see one side of the story. So I think it might be the case that he is just trying to get back at her for saying something. Because part of what happened to us initially, I had Miss Independent over here, where I used to be like super chivalrous and stuff, but she never liked me being super chivalrous. She was like, I can hold my own door open and everything. And I never treated it that way, and I think that's a very important thing, is not to try to get back at someone. But it might have...
It's not a disrespectful thing. It's we're equal thing.
Yeah. And I think he might have taken it the wrong way. If he was like super affectionate and supportive and everything at first, and then recently that started to happen, I feel like it's that. It's him kind of feeling like, hey, you're not appreciating the way that I show my love, so you're dissing it. Because I feel like she probably tells them something similar, like, oh, I can hold my own door, like, oh, don't do this for me, don't do that for that. And the guy is feeling like, hey, I'm trying to share my love with you by opening your door, by helping you do this, helping you do that, and you're basically spitting in my face. Yeah. Like, fine, okay, you can take care of yourself, Miss Independent, you know? And I think that's where conversation or communication... Pride. Pride's a big thing with guys. And unfortunately, sometimes it's hard to swallow. But I think that's where communication comes into play. If something's bugging you, air it out, man. Because as a dude, society-wise, and then even us being younger, I feel like we kind of grew in that middle kind of era where we still have a lot of the older traditional values, but we are also living in the newer values that are coming up. So mentally, we still have that, like, I could say this for myself, I still sometimes have that mentality of like, oh, I can't share my feelings. Even though you've done nothing but foster an environment where I can share my feelings with you, you know? So I think that's probably the situation here, you know? Like, he's probably trying to get back at her, feeling like he's not... Emasculated, not appreciated. As I said, that pride is a big freaking pill, you know, to swallow. So I think that's what's going on. And if they were to talk it out and be like, if this
I mean, he's 24. You're pretty mature for
I would say I'm more mature than most for my age.
Yeah, but I'm like 24. Like, this is like 18-year-old mentality. But then again, we have grown men on podcasts doing this.
Yeah, that's
so
true.
Never mind.
So never mind. I think I think it's just a matter of talking it out. Like this one, the guy should be more proactive and say, hey, it feels like I'm trying to do all this stuff for you, and you're like not liking it. Like, what's going on? Like, and this girl should also bring it up. Like, hey, what's going on? I noticed that all of a sudden you started treating me differently, and I don't like how I'm treated. I hope that it's not an abusive situation like it sounds, because
it sounds,
it can be really hard to get out of those, and it could be really hard to see that you're in one of those. A lot of the times you're so in love, or you care so much for that person that's causing your abuse,
you don't realize
how
much pain you're in.
See it. It's only people on the outside that see it, and the problem is sometimes it's none of my business, we don't say anything, or if we do, because you don't see it, you think that person is attacking your relationship instead of trying to help it.
Yeah.
So first step, I would say, sit down, talk, be mindful that you might be in a situation that might be abusive emotionally, and
especially, dude, if he's making you cry yourself to sleep every night, that's not okay. Regardless of if it's the alpha male mentality or not, and you don't think that's abusive or whatever,
yeah.
The fact that you're crying yourself to sleep every night, that's a big red flag.
It is.
That you're not happy, and that he's causing you pain, and that you shouldn't be in that relationship.
You wanna... Relationships should be kind of like a give and take. Like you want to be happy and have them be happy, but they should also do the same back.
Yeah.
And it seems like that's not what he's doing right now. And I feel like there's an underlying reason to it, but if there isn't, you need to be aware and get out of there,
Yep.
It's not going to work, I would say.
Mm-hmm.
Next. Alrighty. So, this one also comes from the r/relationship advice, and it is posted by u/throwrad Dingleberry 2. Okay. I mean, some of these names, man. They're not even bad. They're like funny most of the time because of what they even say. Anyway, so my 35 male, girlfriend 33 female, won't block the neighbor who has admitted to wanting her. Long story short, my girlfriend and I made an agreement months ago. We started dating in May, so we're soon to be 1 year. It's a new relationship. The agreement was simple. If either of us were uncomfortable with someone from the opposite sex, we'd ask for them to be blocked, and we'd do it without hesitation. So here's the fun part. I've had female friends for years and have that have relationships. Aren't people I'm interested in, etc. She's...
Etc.
Etc. Sorry. She's asked me... Etc.
There's no Z in there.
Okay, whatever. I read the whole sentence wrong anyway. She's asked me to block so many of them, and I've always done it. She has one neighbor who's on probation, who openly has flirted with her in the past, and admitted to wanting to engage in sexual activity. Oh, she says she shut it down. I told her a few months ago that I was uncomfortable with it, and she blocked him with hesitation. 2 nights ago, we were having an argument, and she said, well, guess what? I unblocked, and I've been talking to neighbor behind your back. I was crushed. So after we reconciled, I asked her to block him again, and she doesn't want to. Her excuse? It's always awkward when they run into each other in the building. Honestly, I told her this. I don't give a fuck about his feelings. She continues to refuse. I would have said the same thing. If her excuse... Is her excuse valid, or is she keeping him as an option? She says she isn't into him or his type, but that she doesn't really have friends and doesn't want to be suffocated. I've asked her to block one person. For her, I've blocked over 15. TLDR, girlfriend won't block a dude who I'm uncomfortable with. Yeah, that pretty much does sum it up. Ooh, okay, so I guess I can start first as a dude since it's in the dude's perspective. I commend you for actually sticking to it. I feel like usually guys are the ones with the problem.
Yeah.
At least from what I've seen.
Yeah. Usually the dude is like, really? Come on. Like, it's not how I think about her, so why should it matter?
Yeah. But either way, I think it's a fair agreement to have in a relationship. Mm-hmm. Just in general. Especially when it comes from the opposite sex or sex that you're attracted to, I guess, because there's relationships that are a little bit more fluid, but it's very important to have that as an agreement. If there's someone that I'm uncomfortable you talking to, you stop, and no hesitation to a point. I think the person is allowed to know why. But once that reason...
There should be a discussion, not just, okay, I'm a blocker.
Yeah, okay, whatever.
Yeah.
There should be a discussion. The person should be allowed to know why, and the other person should be able to convey those feelings on why they want this person blocked. And then if it is within reason, obviously, like, you can't just be, like, someone that's super jealous and be like...
They looked at you the wrong
block
way.
Everyone, yeah. It should be done without hesitation at that point. Given that that's not, that it seems like that's only happening in one end, that is a big issue in my opinion. It does seem like maybe she is maybe not interested in him romantically, but she is interested in the attention that she might be getting from this guy, which in turn leads me to believe that there might be something missing on her end. Like, maybe she's feeling neglected or not listened to or something in some way that's causing her to seek that somewhere else. Because agreeing with this person, the excuse of, well, it's awkward if we run into each other in the other building, a random stranger's feelings should not pose any... like
extra value
compared to your own partner's feelings. Like, that trumps anything there, like the guy said, you should give a damn what the other person is feeling. I get the feeling of maybe feeling awkward around them, but they're a stranger. They're not the person that you're with. They're not the person that you supposedly like, or even love. So I think that should be something that that needs to be done. And if she is holding him as an option, and if she refuses to change, I think the best thing to do would be, hey, if you don't change, then maybe this isn't gonna work out.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts?
He's asking if her reasoning is valid. No, it's not. She's for sure keeping him on the hook. She's for sure using him as a backup. There's a need that is not being met, obviously. Or she has feelings for this guy, and she's never admitted it to herself. It's one or the other. But regardless, her not blocking him is an issue.
Yeah. Because,
like, if you've been doing what you said you would from the get-go, and now she's the one time you ask her to do it, now she won't be willing to do it, that's not fair, obviously. And there is good reason he's admitted to wanting to be sexually active with your girl. And she's admitted to the fact that he's, like, tried to have moves on her. It's proven that there is sexual tension there. It's not friendship. So that means that conversation now needs to end. And that relationship needs to be cut off. If it's awkward, it's awkward. I'm sorry. But at the end of the day, when you're walking down the hallway, I'm going to be like, hi, bye. That's it. That's all you got to say. or be like, have a conversation with him, and be like, hey, because I'm in a relationship and it's serious, we've decided that our relationship can no longer continue, so I'll be seeing you around.
Yeah.
And that will create a little bit of awkwardness, but then it'll be lifted, or you could say, we could be friends, but there has to be boundaries. There could be multiple levels of this,
I'm not
right?
sure I understand.
I don't think Siri likes your take on this. Maybe she's
But,
the girl.
Yeah. But yeah, so that's my thoughts is she's keeping him on the hook because she wants backup, or a need is not getting met.
Yeah. I think that.
And she's not being fair.
There is different kinds of people. For the most part, though, I think infidelity comes from a need that's not met.
Mm.
So her keeping him on the hook and her...
And keeping it from him, too. That's fucked up.
Yeah, that is messed up.
Sorry.
No, you're fine.
It's okay.
Siri, what is
Siri,
going
it's okay.
on?
Thanks,
Okay,
Siri.
we got a third host in this podcast now. 4, because Nala likes to share her opinion. But, yeah, there's a need not met, more than likely, and it's never been addressed. I mean, they are fairly new into their relationship, so maybe this is something that they've never had the chance to talk about. But I would bring it up.
Mm-hmm.
Bring up the fact that, you know, they're like, what about this person is attractive to you? And not necessarily in a sexual way, but just as like a friend. Like, what do you see in this person that you like? And see if the root cause is something that I might not be providing, that I could provide, you know. But even if you couldn't provide it, maybe find it somewhere else. Because the fact that this guy has openly mentioned about engaging in sexual activity, I don't know what words were used, but that immediately should be okay, I can't talk to this person anymore. Which is why I think there's something not met. Like, maybe she likes the attention. And obviously, there's different kinds of people. She might be someone that actively enjoys getting attention from multiple people.
Yeah.
And if that's something that you're uncomfortable with, that you don't want in your relationship,
she's not the one for you.
Yeah, you have to let it known. And if it's something that's not going to change, then move on.
Yeah.
Especially if it's true that you've blocked over 15.
I mean, she's 33?
Yeah.
Yeah, she's 33 years old and she's still doing this.
Yeah, there's a chance
the
that
maturity
that might
level's
be
not there. It's probably need not being met.
Yeah. Which, yeah, you have to have that honest conversation. And about the awkwardness, you're 33. You should be able to handle that like an adult, you know? Like,
I mean, have you ever been in an elevator with someone?
yeah, there's way more awkward situations, you know?
And I understand it's where you live, but
You
like at the end of the day,
accidentally rip your pants at work or something.
your relationship means more than a little bit of awkwardness.
Yeah, exactly. If you truly value that relationship.
Yeah.
If you don't value it enough to end a situation like that, then I don't value it enough to stick around.
Yeah.
You know?
Yep, exactly.
All right. Next.
That was so off.
1, 2.
That was a little bit closer.
Yeah.
Oh, fuck. One more time. Oh, no, I didn't even clap that time. One last one. Would you rather bring a knife to a gunfight or bring nothing to a knife fight?
Ooh. I would say... Well, I'll let you go first. Ladies first.
No, you go first.
Okay. I would think... Well, okay, so how many knives or guns are we talking about? But I think I would rather bring nothing to a knife fight. Although I might end up like that meme. I don't know if you've seen that guy that gets trapped by like a bunch of gladiators and they're all just shaking.
Oh my gosh, no.
It's a movie. It's not real life.
I've not seen that.
No, I saw it on TikTok or something. But like he got like circled in with like shields and then they just went to ham.
Oh my gosh.
So it depends on how many people are coming into this knife fight. But I think you stand more of a chance because if anything, if you are able to disarm one of them, you know, knife.
I see it as, I agree with you. I see it as like I could get a weapon from something else. Like I can get a frying pan or a glass.
Oh, yeah,
or,
I didn't even think about that.
Like I could think of a different weapon that could be just as effective as a knife. But if you have a knife to a gunfight,
You're
by the time you even try to do anything, you're dead.
pretty much,
You're screwed.
yeah.
So I feel like I'd rather do nothing to a. I'll rather bring nothing to a knife fight than bring a knife to a gunfight.
Yeah, that's true. I didn't even think about using something else. Like
Yeah.
you're gonna be there with your frying pan,
Yeah.
smacking.
Well,
away with
it's because it's something that like it's gonna take them effort to come at you, but like if you could grab something as
yeah,
a
that's
weapon,
true.
it's the same effectiveness. Instead of like a knife to a gunfight, you try to aim or go do anything and it's boom, you're
Yeah,
dead.
boom, you're dead.
That's it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
yeah, it's a lose-lose right there.
it is. Yeah.
But
If you're Hispanic, though, you
We
got
agree.
a chancla, so you throw it across the room.
and you can dodge a knife sometimes.
You can dodge
Sometimes.
guns too.
Depends on the distance.
Have you seen The Matrix? No, I'm kidding. Or no, I was gonna.
Depends on the person's aim.
I was gonna say or Deadpool, but
Oh,
he ended
gosh.
up with holes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think nothing to a knife fight unless they have shields.
Yep.
You should see it. It's kind of funny, but at the same time, like you feel it, and you're
Mm,
like, oh, that was like.
I'm good.
All right. So yeah.
So that's the end of our
episode today.
episode
Nice. And numero dos.
number 2.
So, thank you guys for watching. As per usual, like if you guys want to see more, you just want to listen in, you can follow us on like YouTube. You can check us out on Spotify and Apple Podcast. Also RSS. I kind of had to set that up because Spotify won't work without it. But I've never heard of it. Sorry, RSS. But anyway, you can find us there. You can also follow us on Instagram and on TikTok if you want to see like little snippets and stuff. But if you liked it, leave down a comment. Give us some sugar and hit the like button.
And don't forget to stay salty.